Welcome home, Raiders. Tonight, Mythic Dungeon Round 2, and it looks like it's time to upgrade your Legendary. Again, as Convert to Raid presents the Battlenet News. From the Battlenet News broadcast bunker in Minneapolis, Minnesota, today is September 26th, 2017, and it is now 10:12 in the p.m. Central Time. Thanks so much for joining us from all around the Blizzard universe. And hello, my name is Pat Crane. I am your host of this ding-dang show, and we have a bunch of players here. We will get to them right this second. From Lords of the Storm, the podcast about Heroes of the Storm, it's Gizmo!
Hello, Pat. How's it going?
Hey, good. By the way, I was talking with somebody just recently that was not, I'm trying to remember his name. I think it was Dan from before. He said that Dan didn't like when I went high with your voice, and I said, Gizmo! Well, I talked to somebody else, and he said he really appreciated that when I did that, so I'm trying to change it up a little bit. So
okay.
But,
fair enough. All right.
But welcome. And now from Tauren Think Tank, we also have Jules Scott. Hey, Jules.
Hi. I'm tired.
All right. Well, then we'll move along to, from the new podcast, Merely a Setback, all about lore in WoW. It is Sharku.
I'm just so happy that I have another show now. It's been, over a year that I've been on this show? Yeah. So I was like, Sharku from that raid team I was on once that right. talks on camera.
He talks on camera. He talks on camera. But now
I have my own project, and we're having so much fun with it. Yay.
That's good. That's good. I'm glad. And you're got a couple of shows under your belt now, so that's good.
Yep.
So everybody go check it out. Merely a Setback on your podcast player of choice. How's that?
Yes. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I think we are just iTunes right now, but we also have just,
it's a lot of things.
That's where you get it.
Yeah.
Hook us up. Give us some good reviews. We enjoy doing it. So, but anyway, we'll talk about that later. Let's talk about another podcast show that happens sometimes.
Like this one? How about this one?
How did you know what I was referring to?
Right. It's weird. I know. Well, as normal, we will kind of go around the room and see what everybody's been up to in World of Warcraft land and beyond. And Shark, how is the raid scene going right now?
Well, last week we got the AOTC, right? I already talked about that.
Yep.
So it's going good, except nobody wants to tank.
I'll tank
the
Asparagus
Initiative.
I'll tank.
Yeah, right.
I'll tank. I'll totally tank. I'm now like gear level, I don't know, let's say 885.
Well, we actually decided to go a different route.
You're going one tank? You're going shaman tank.
We had a couple tanks try out, and they were all really good, and people just couldn't commit to the times. Yeah. And it was sort of this and that and the other.
Yeah.
And then we had one guy that said, hey, I was thinking about switching my DK, and I don't care if I play DPS or tank. I just want to play DK. And we're like, okay, you go. And then he started tanking for a few weeks, and he was like, I don't want to tank anymore. And I'm like, well, you're stuck because we need to get AOTC. So as soon as we kill the boss, you don't have to tank anymore. So then we killed the boss, and then we couldn't find another tank. And I had to beg him last week to tank again, and he was very, very nice. Thank you again, Cody. For tanking, and now he's like, nope, I want to do my unholy DPS. That's what I want to do. So good. So
he wants to be a spellcaster. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know if you remember way back in the day when Sharku joined the Asparagus Initiative, if you remember what role he had.
Oh, I remember exactly what role you had. You had the job of making me work.
This predates the mage, yeah. My job was to make sure Pat Crane didn't get bored while he was killing. Right. And I was DK tank, and I'm back, baby!
Oh, wow. Wow. So, back to blood tanking. Look out.
Yep. brushing off the old blood spec, putting the mage back on the shelf for a little while, and we're going to meet shield for my buddies.
Nice work.
So we're all excited.
So let me ask the panel this, because I was musing over this earlier today, and it was, there are all the different tank specs. Well, yes, all of them have a melee DPS component to them. Some of them have healing components to them, but there's only one druid that has a range DPS component to it. And I really want, because I don't like melee. I'm not a big fan of melee DPS. I am a fan. I like tanking because I never die. I like healing because I never die. And I like range DPSing because then I don't get bit in the face by something, right? Melee is nothing. But I want to know if you guys can think of a tank class that's already available to us right now that would also be okay with like mid-range or even a longer range, like a range DPS. Is there any Monk?
Beastmaster Hunter.
Just as far as their other specs?
Yeah, just as far as like I want to kind of flesh this out a little bit and figure out where we can go, because I'm guessing that they've got something in store for the next expansion, right?
A range class that could tank, or a tanking class that you could see a range spec somehow.
Okay, so if you went range class that could tank, then you could go shaman, right? You could.
I could potentially see them doing that with a hunter, like a Beastmaster hunter,
right?
Yeah,
somehow, right?
Like actually, but no, you're supposed to leave Tauntaun on your pet now,
or right. Demonology Warlock was something that was played with for a while. Demonology tanks.
But let's go the other way with it, and let's say tanking class that could have a range DPS component. So
I'd love to see Monk do that.
Yeah,
just be able to stand back. And, because I understand the Monk is about being melee punchy, but
like a Jade Lightning Monk.
I love that. I think that would be awesome, because I love the Monk class, and I've always felt like it could be very potent as a range DPS. I mean, they've got the lightning and they've got all of that, but that's mine for sure, Monk.
All right.
I think Unholy DK could possibly be a range class, just using
just diseases and all that kind of stuff.
Like diseases, death coils, and summoning. But then you're just a warlock, so it's kind of like, you know what I mean?
Right.
But I could see them as a rangy type class. Maybe I think that's the one, because they're all like. But I don't see the other classes. Maybe paladins.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yes. Like you could go I don't know, into different tomes for spells, or. I don't know if you could make like a cleric type. Well, and I was thinking for them.
I was thinking like a Valkyrie spec, kind of like what we've seen with ICC and with other things. We fought against them, right? We fought against Valks for sure,
right?
And then and that's kind of what I said.
That's kind of class.
That's kind of what I said on Twitter today. I was like going, well, I could see like Valkyrie as like a thing, like a spec for Paladin, and then their big CD would be to pick up mobs and just drop them off of platforms.
Right.
Like all day. Just see that all day.
I think that would be an awesome class to play, I think.
Yeah, right?
Well, but I mean, that's basically a paladin class, right? Because it's using the light and blah, 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 blah. So, I mean, kind of.
Yeah, but it's hard to think like making a tank one range, because for druids it works, because druids are wearing like leather armor and it's their transformation that helps them with armor. Whereas these other like Death Knight and Paladin and stuff like in Warrior, you're wearing plate, so when you go ranged, it doesn't really make sense. But like they can make like a cleric or Valkyrie as like another class, or if like a spec to where Paladin like plate isn't the main armor anymore, maybe for some reason chainmail or leather becomes good for stats or something. I don't know. All I know is that for Legion, they actually took away another range spec. Right, because Hunter went into melee range, and they've only increased the melee part of things. They haven't increased the range part of things, and the tanks have even grown a little bit, but we haven't seen much growth in the range spectrum. And I want to see more, but I don't necessarily want to see more classes, because I think we've got like a lot of choice
in what class we play at this point. Maybe a pirate rogue that fires guns. And that's all they do. So they're basically a hunter without a pet.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's really planning on Blizzard bringing out a new class at BlizzCon this year.
No.
New race.
Right, but a new. Well, I don't. We should talk about that on the show sometime because there's some really cool ideas out there for what they might do.
There's a bunch of speculation that is saying that elves might be getting a new class that they can play.
Well, sub races is what people are talking about. So dwarves would get Dark Iron dwarves. Elves would get what are they called? The Nightborn. Right?
Yeah, but
and different things like that.
Sure.
That was something that was floated around.
But here's something else because I know that and I was listening to I think I was listening to Azeroth Roundtable, and they brought up a pretty interesting point. There was a point in I think it was the Paladin class quest where you have to anoint a night elf as a paladin or something like that, where you have to do that.
Okay.
And if that's the case, are we going to see more race class choices for the next expansion? I think that's probably going to be a thing.
I just want a gnome demon hunter. That's what I want.
There's a lot of things they can do.
I think you got to wait on that one.
Gnome demon hunter.
Right.
Secretly, I really want to see Naga in the game. I really want them to figure out how they do that. I don't know how they do it.
Shoes.
I don't know. I mean, they could easily write into the lore some way where like some of the Naga like they keep their fish form or whatever, but they get Little Mermaided, where they get legs. You know what I mean?
Mermaided.
Yeah, they get Little Mermaided.
Mermaided.
They're just like Lieutenant Dan. They get new legs.
That sounds weird.
Yeah, but I think they could probably figure something out. Like the Naga somehow become redeemed and they lose just the fin, the slug part of their form, and they get legs again, but they're still like fish people. I think that would be
a Murloc.
I want something.
It's a Murloc. Yeah. I want Murlocs. Let's do Murlocs.
I want kobolds.
I do expect for them.
No
to
take
release,
candle.
Announce something about races. I think that because there's a pattern that they've followed. And other than Draenor, we've either got one or the other. And Pandaria, we got both, so they skipped Draenor, I guess. Yeah. But there's something, I think something that along with the races is happening at BlizzCon this year. So I'm excited about it. But
we will definitely see. We will definitely see, and we're getting so excited for BlizzCon. All right, we were also talking about what people have been doing this week in games. Right, so let's go back. Let's go back to Gizmo. What have you been up to lately?
I'm raiding again.
As we majorly derailed. You're raiding again?
In Destiny.
Yeah.
Not real.
Yeah.
In Destiny. So yeah, for me, I'm still sucked into Destiny, but as well Heroes, because of Ana being in PTR. And all the good stuff coming. The new map is still amazing. So
let's make sure to talk about that stuff later.
Yes.
Don't forget. Remind me later. We'll talk about it. Jules, how about you?
I've been playing Overwatch and Heroes. I actually got to play Ana tonight. A couple games of Ana, and I got the new map in addition to playing her. Holy crap, she is fun and she is hard. Those skill shots are something not to be trifled with, but I hit some pretty good ones. I still don't know how to use her second ultimate yet, the Eye of Horus. I'm still figuring that one out. And the new Mercy on Overwatch, she's freaking awesome. Oh my gosh, I played a couple games of competitive with her, and I felt like I had a couple of moments where I swooped in, right, and saved the point or turned it around, because that ultimate, that new Valkyrie ultimate, is just so powerful. So we've been kind of stupid busy right now with the CTR party, but I've snuck in a couple of games.
We have
been having a blast, and I can't wait to play more.
We have. That's really cool. That's awesome. And I think that I know that I've got some stuff that I want to talk about, but I think I'll save it for later in the show. I did get my Horde tune up to 110, so there's that. And for that, I'm just going to do this. Even though, you know what? I don't deserve it because it's so easy right now. It is so easy.
Is that confirmed? CTR Guild moving to Horde server?
No, that is absolutely not a thing that's going to be happening anytime soon. I'm just Horde curious, guys. I'm Horde curious.
What racing class?
A troll druid.
Okay.
I didn't, druid is just so easy for me. So it's just like, it's almost second nature because, nature. That was a joke. Druid joke. Hey. I got to write that one down.
We got jokes today. There we go.
Yeah. So, but that way I can tank or I can heal or I can, DPS maybe if I feel like it. But, I don't, druids aren't very versatile though. It's kind of, you just can do only really one thing. You can only really do all four things. They're not the only class in the game that has all four areas covered. Right. And this is why you play them. And it was kind of weird because last night I was playing on my Horde troll druid, and I was hanging out with Thist and Thorn from Lagging Balls, and I was hanging out with Ro from Realm Maintenance, doing some like Mythic Zeros and stuff like that. And it was a lot of fun. It was good. It was a good time. So thanks to those guys for putting up with me. That's for sure. And I have more thoughts on that as we get through the show. So just kind of keep that in mind. But for right now, what I want to talk to you guys about is a little bit of BlizzCon stuff because I know that the hype is real and I know that we're only like 5 weeks away. 5 weeks?
Yes.
Oh my God.
I am getting amped.
I want to be there now.
I know.
Let's go.
I'm getting so amped for this thing. And Jules, why don't you tell folks what we've got in store for them? Because we've got something coming up. Actually, it's coming up tomorrow that you can probably talk about a little bit. Go ahead.
Yeah, so chat room, you're getting the inside scoop like right now. So when we found out that the BlizzCon goodie bag is including that really awesome backpack with the Velcro spot for all the little patches, well, we decided that we are going to make some Convert to Raid patches, and we made 2 versions. So they are going to be available for cheers.
We'll hit that. Sure. That sounded weird. All right, go ahead.
I know it sounded weird. So we're going to be selling some patches, and they're actually available right now. You can go right now to converttoraid.etsy.com.
So excited about this.
And go check them out.
Yes.
We are also pre-selling our coloring book, our community coloring book that we raised money for the Kickstarter. We're selling those as well, and all of this is going towards the benefit of the party. And Pat is holding it up right now.
I'm holding up the proof of the book. Here, I'm going to do a single shot for this one so that you can kind of see what's going on with it. So here's the coloring book. Here's what it looks like, and then I will
be
randomly
careful showing pictures.
I know.
It's an adult coloring book.
It's an adult coloring book. You can't really see too much.
It's Malfurion.
Yeah, and so it's kind of one of those things. We've got this is from Zoe Zazu.
Oh wow!
It's Sylvanas, and we've got stuff from who do we have from Jules? We've got here's one from.
We've got Monty Pony, Scott Johnson, Fabelina, Sepish, Avaltor. We've got some great artists that are in there, and they donated their
Venica.
They donated their time.
Firecat Rich.
So awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Firecat Rich. So the
really
Etsy
cool.
site is live right now. We're going to be sending out a notification. Yes, you can pick them up at BlizzCon, but you got to put in a special code so you don't get charged shipping. It's all of the listing for converttoraid.etsy.com. And it's there right now. The patches, he's just showing up more pictures.
Yeah.
So cute. I love that one.
It's good. It's good. It's good stuff. Okay. Sorry.
And we're going to be pre-selling the patches. We got to hit a certain threshold in order to produce them. So that's why we're putting them up there now. Hopefully you guys will love them. You want to buy them, and then we can order them. If we don't, we cancel the order, refund your money. So,
You can't see the artwork on the video as much because my studio lights are very, very bright. But trust me, they're there. It's not invisible ink. It's totally fine. So the coloring book is there, and the coloring book is $25. And then the patches are there as well. There are 2 different types. There's one for the CTR Guild, and there's one for the CTR Show. You can pick them up both for a discount, which is really great as well. So go to converttoraid.etsy.com and pick those things up because we want to know how many we need to order. So it's pre-sale for all of that stuff as we get ready to go to BlizzCon. And man, so excited. So excited. Especially as we get
so much is happening.
Like all the little details are getting picked up now, and so good. Yeah,
all the shirts have been ordered. Right. Everything is on order. We've got swords on order. It's gonna be.
I just peed a little.
If you guys want crappy cosplay swords, you're gonna have to come to the party, and everybody.
Oh man!
And we'll pass them out until we don't have any more. Which will
you guys have
really quick.
No idea how bad of an idea that is, and how awesome of an idea that is. I can't wait. All I want to do is
such a terrible idea. It sounds great,
and it's so good.
Oh man! So that's the BlizzCon update for this week, and thank you, Jules, for helping put all that stuff together, the Etsy store and all that kind of stuff, and I know it's been a lot of work, but it's been very rewarding along the way as well. So that's been good. Just one thing before we hit the news part of the news, guys. Just one little thing, and it is an app that will blow your mind. Maybe not, but it is still a very nice app. And what it is it's the Battle.net app. This thing just hit today. I just downloaded it for my iPhone today, and basically it's just a chat app for everybody on your Battle.net. So now we can finally chat
right now.
Finally, we can chat with everybody. So yay!
Yeah,
lots of applause.
We can chat during the show.
Yeah, we can chat during the show. We don't have to use Discord. We can just use our phones to chat while we're actually talking to each other.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, I have a mechanical keyboard, so it's very loud.
Oh, yeah.
The rest of the show is actually going to be conducted over the Blizzard app.
All right.
So you guys are going to have to log in.
Yep.
Here, I'm
so you're
going to
have to log in and become our friends and all that kind of good stuff. So yeah, please do that. But it's cool. So it's it's just a little bonus for today. I think that's my take on it.
By the way, someone just bought a patch set like right as we were doing this.
Oh, nice!
Thank you, whoever did that.
They beat me to it.
I like it. All right. Well, with that, we will go into the news. All right. First up, let's talk about the Mythic Dungeon Invitational. It's week 2, and this last weekend it was EU and NA. And from my understanding of it, I watched a bit of it. I didn't watch all of it. And again, I was watching Fist on Twitter like everybody was who wanted to keep up with the Dungeon Invitational because she was live tweeting the whole damn thing. And there were some close calls and there were some total blowouts, like embarrassing blowouts along the way. Guys, did you Jules, did you watch this? Did you watch some of this?
I did. I only watched, probably total, I probably watched an hour, well, maybe more than that, across the couple of days that was going on. I was really interested to see how it was going to go. And unfortunately, I only had time to watch some of the earlier matches, so they weren't as exciting as I saw this kind of like freaking out on Twitter for the other ones because the time spans were quite large. Like the casters were kind of casual about it. It was just, so I could see how this esport could be really, really exciting if it was 2 teams that had really very similar skill levels,
Sure.
The one that I saw for sure, like they went into upper Karazhan, I think, upper or lower Karazhan, which was kind of cool because I'm sitting there going, Flame Wreath, look, Flame Wreath, they're dealing with Flame Wreath. And I'm remembering all the things that happened when I used to run Karazhan back in the day. And like total team wipe, which puts like a minute on their clock or something like that. I'm making this up. And they kind of...
Well, it's 25 seconds. You're not, I mean, it's like a half a minute. That's pretty...
Is it half a minute?
Yeah, because it's 5 seconds per death. So
yeah,
it was kind of nutty. And I guess one of them was like, one of those runs, a team was just like... I mean, it was bad. They had a lot of deaths. Like several team wipes. It was not pretty at all. So yeah, it was not good. Gizmo, did you get a chance to did you get a chance to watch at all?
I got a chance to watch like one match, unfortunately, with me working weekends now. Yeah. But I do enjoy the setup of it, and I do continue to think that this could be something that maybe not an esport, but at least something that they do regularly in Warcraft. It's very enjoyable to watch if you're into the PvE. It's easier for me to watch than Warcraft PvP for sure.
Well, and,
gosh.
And that's weird, right? Because I mean, when you think of like regular esports, you think about teams going head to head. And when you hear Gizmo and Jules saying that Warcraft PvP is not as preferable as Mythic Dungeon runs, does that just like totally blow your mind or what?
A little bit, but I mean, it's just that's what they're familiar with. I'm assuming that neither of them PvP very much, or at least arena. So it's one of those things where they're more familiar with the one thing. So they're like, oh, I know what's going on. It was sort of like before I played League, like I played a lot of Heroes of the Storm. And so I could sort of compare and figure out, but then I'd watch a League game and I'm like, I don't know where they are. I don't know this map. I don't understand. Like I knew the concept of the game, but I was completely lost and it wasn't interesting to me. So I don't know.
Yeah, for me, it's just the fact that like I do PvP occasionally, but it's so different. Like that affects me whenever I want to go back and do PvE during the different rotations and the reaction and stuff. And it's just never really fit my PvP play style, which is why I was so surprised whenever I ended up liking, Heroes of the Storm and then started playing different MOBAs and stuff like that.
Sure.
So it's just there's so much going on. I've talked about before, watching at BlizzCon, the WoW arenas is super exciting because the casters get me jacked, but I can't keep up with everything that's going on. So WoW PvP it is just a familiarity thing.
It's hard to watch anyway. WoW PvP in general, like it's not the best esport because it's just like all you see is flashes of lights and swingy swords, and you're like, what's going on? And unless the announcers they have to go, oh, they just spent their last, oh, they can't get out of the stun, oh, and then you're like, oh, okay, I'm sort of following, but it just happens so fast, and only a really well-trained eye of someone I think that watches or plays PvP a lot can even recognize what's going on. Other than that, it's just like...
Well, and there's no observer mode, is there? It's always from perspective of one of the players, isn't it?
Their observer mode is a player camera, I think.
Yeah.
But so I think they might have changed that. Recently.
I think they have
It used to be, but I think there's an observer mode now. But it's even still, it's like I don't know.
Right, and even your dog is chiming in on the subject. Sorry,
I don't know.
We got jokes tonight. We didn't think we'd have them. We got them.
That's a joke. So anyway, no, but as I've said before, WoW PvP is like the fastest moving chess game in the world, where you don't know exactly what's going on. Everything happens very slowly, but everybody's moving around very quickly, with great urgency.
It's a lot easier to watch a MOBA or a shooter as far as watch like spectator stuff goes.
Well, so this last week, Raider.io and Team Big Pull are in the finals for Europe. Friends with Affixes and Premonition. I was watching some of the Premonition games. They were awesome. Those guys advanced from the Americas, and this weekend is the culmination of everything. So you're going to see everybody go head to head. There's going to be the quarterfinals on Saturday, and then the semis and the grand finale, whatever it is, whatever they're calling it, on Sunday, I think. So be looking for that. If you guys have been amped up about this stuff, I mean, it is It's a good show. I like the show, and some people, basically because a couple of my friends are there. I mean, Trekkie and Sloot. I love those guys so much, and seeing those guys doing some casting like that and dressed up in suits is really weird because they've been on this show just like in ripped up sweats and stuff, and I'm like, all right, that's a lie. That is a lie. That suit is a lie. But
I gotta give it up for Sloot. He is so good at casting play-by-play.
He is.
For real. I have so much respect for his knowledge and the explanations, the way he explains things. And he was talking a whole lot about strategy, and the matches that I was watching, he was explaining why one of the teams didn't make it. They didn't pull the trash mob up to the end to then pull the boss to cut down this amount of time. Like these little things are what matter. He was really doing a great job explaining how these teams time themselves and how they could improve themselves to be better. Because if like you're somebody out there who's like, well, I could do that. I could totally do that. Like, well, that's how you learn how to do it. So
right.
Great casting.
Yep. Yeah, he was pretty good, and some people were kind of goofing on Trekkie a little bit, but I still like the guy. I can't help it. He's a good dude. So yeah, and apparently Garrissar says arenas are streamed with a person as the camera in spectator mode. So the person is a camera, and then they can kind of shift from that. So
yeah, that makes sense.
Right. That does make sense. Anything else on the Mythic Dungeon Invitational that you guys wanted to bring up or anything like that? All right. Then it's time to upgrade your Legendary. Again. Oh, this hurts me so much.
Can we just skip it, Pat?
This hurts me so much. So Shark, other than the Legendary system being in a shambles, right?
It's not in shambles, Pat. It's completely... yes, your question.
Other than it being the worst thing in the world, in your opinion, I mean, not in the world, but definitely in the world of Warcraft. In the world of Warcraft, yeah. So we've had to upgrade our Legendaries now a couple times, 3 times, right? And now we're gearing up again so we can make our Legendaries item level 1,000.
Yep.
1,000, and this is for the next patch, right? So 7.3.2.
Yes.
When is that coming? Do we know? Do we have a date on that?
Yes. I mean, I don't think you had an official date, but it's going to be exactly 11 weeks after the last patch. Do the math. I don't know.
It'll be after BlizzCon.
I think it's the week after BlizzCon or the week before BlizzCon, something like that.
All right.
I couldn't find a date when I was looking online. Maybe I missed it.
Well, there's not an official date, but so far every single patch 0.0 and 0.5 has come out exactly 11 weeks. So you can, to the date, figure out when the next patch is coming up.
77 days.
If they keep exactly 77 days. Yeah. So if they keep the pattern, which so far they have for 6 expansions or 6 patches.
November 14th.
Yeah.
So that'll be the week after.
Was saying.
Right. But they'll probably kick it off before. They'll probably kick it off the week before BlizzCon, don't you think? Well, no, they shouldn't. They shouldn't.
No, I think they'll do BlizzCon, and then you'll leave from BlizzCon and go home and raid.
That would be really bad.
Yes.
Open up the new raid right before BlizzCon, and everybody's like, "What?
Isn't that what happened for Warlords? Or for Legion? Didn't Legion launch the week before BlizzCon last year?
No, or was
it the week after?
It was right after.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, so there. But I mean, so now we're at gear level 1,000 for our Legendaries, at least, and
so
this brings up several pain points of the game. Being kind of older, right?
I actually don't mind the fact that, like, what they did with the Legendaries and giving them to us before the raid content even came out. Like, as soon as the expansion dropped, there were people that got Legendaries day one. I don't know who they were, and I hate you, but they, and then you just level your Legendary with you throughout the entire expansion. I don't hate that idea. I don't think it was implemented well, but So I don't mind them continually leveling the legendaries throughout the expansion, and it makes sense every time a new patch comes out. The gear's getting better. Why shouldn't your legendary get better as well? Because they never want you to replace your legendary. They want it to always be the best piece of gear you own.
Right.
So that all makes sense. But the problem comes in, there are so many legendaries, and a lot of players have them all and feel like they have to upgrade them all. And so they have to do the content over and over again to get all the whatever, to farm the whatever stuff to get the legendary. So that's where you have the issue, along with the slew of issues I have with the legendary system going on right now.
Right.
I think that's the big problem. So it's not upgrading in itself. It's the fact that there are so many and you still don't have the one you want. And you know what I mean? And it's just, it makes it, well, look, Asparagus Initiative, for example, we have a lot of people growing bored with their class. And so that happens during the game, and people then just switch classes to something else. They'll, I'm going to power level a monk now because that's what I want to play.
Right.
Like Coltrane did that with his, where he was playing mage for a long time. He's like, I want to play monk. He's actually talking about playing paladin now or something. Like, it's all sort of, but you get a little bored and you try something new. And if you can't do that because you don't have the legendaries, it takes, the same amount of time to get, maybe you'll luck out and get your best in slot legendary, the first one that drops 2 weeks after you get to 110, but it just takes a lot of the game away from the game. And I think that's the worst ever. Do not do it again. Please, Blizz, for the love of God, please. Please do not do it again. It's so bad.
This is extremely painful for some players, I know. And so, especially if you have,
literally, I can't
12 legendaries, whatever. So
like, take flying away forever for everything. Delete flying delete all of my flying mounts. Like, just stop with the legendaries. I hate it so much.
That's extreme.
Wow.
Oh, it's super extreme.
Wow.
Go back to a time before summoning stones. Do it. I don't care if you take
Well, no, hold on a second. Then I have some issues. But Gizmo, what were you gonna say?
I don't remember the first thing, but the second thing here, and this is because I am not Raider anymore, not legendary efficient, I guess, they're bind on pickup, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Would it help if they were account bound, or at least server bound?
So we talked about
to
this.
Help with the alt.
If they could do that where it was not just account bound, if it worked like heirlooms do, where you could just like go, all right, you know what, I'm just gonna
get one.
I'm just gonna, as soon as I get it, it goes into my inventory and I can use that for all my different characters. That'd be awesome. I would love that. That would totally fix it for the alt problem. That's for sure.
Another thing we talked about was this concept of, how in Hearthstone or like all the other Blizzard games, you get something you don't want and you can dust it. And if you save up enough of whatever magic pixie dust you have, you can make that thing. If they did something like that with a legendary, let's say you got Suffuse Secret and you don't want to use it. I know it's better than it was when it first started, but that's a legendary you're not going to use. And you get 2 other legendaries you don't want to use. For the price of 3 legendaries, you can obliterate those. We literally have something in the game called the Obliterator. Obliterate those and get magic legendary dust. And when you get 3 legendary items worth of that.
You want to Hearthstone it. You want a Hearthstone WoW.
You can focus the legendary. I want the frost bracers for my mage, please.
Yeah.
So you still have to do the whole grindy. I have to get something. I have to get, I got that. I didn't like it, but I can turn it into something I really, really want. Then it's no longer as bad. I could live in a world where that's the legendary system.
However,
but limit it to like 1 or 2 legendaries per class, so you can only get 2. And then you have them and you're good.
Right. Well,
and let me pick the one I want.
Yeah. And Garrisar in chat says legendary items don't really feel legendary anymore. And I would totally agree with this. Legendary is not necessarily what I would call a legendary item. Not if everybody can get it. Everybody has to have it to fight. And you need all 12 or whatever to be able to do whatever you want in game. I don't think that that's necessarily. I think that there needs to be. It could still be orange. I just don't want to call it legendary because I think that's kind of a bad.
I like
name.
artifacts way better. I think we should get rid of legendaries and just do artifacts something.
Sure.
I don't like that everybody has the Ashbringer. If that makes sense, like the lore thing kind of messes with my mind because there's only supposed to be one. But if the new legendary system was an artifact system, that I would be 100% cool with. Keep artifacts, lose legendaries, call artifacts legendaries if you want, and then I'm good.
Also, I'm wondering how much crap we have to grind in game. That's the other thing that I'm wondering, because it's like it's just yet another grind on top of another grind on top of another grind. Especially if you have a new character or something like that. If you have an alt that you're bringing up, you have these new legendaries. How much are we going to have to grind for those? Hopefully, we just need to grind the new stuff to get to 1,000 and not do the little upgrades along the way, because that would really be horrible.
No, the last one you got to skip, because I actually had one way back in the so it upgrades your legendary, even if you got a legendary on day one and logged out of the game and never played again. Once you get your new upgrade for the 7.5 patch, it will take that legendary and make it 1,000. Well, I'm pretty sure that's what it's going to be.
I just don't. My biggest problem. And I'm seeing this with my troll druid, and now I guess this is a good time to bring this up as any. with my troll druid, hit 110, and what do you think I saw? I saw my UI light up with exclamation points, saying, "Hey, come over here. We've got something for you over here. Hey, here's some shiny stuff over here." And being a
remember Valshara? Remember World Quest on the original island?
Being a veteran player, I know what I want to do with my time. I know that I want to do World Quest to get loot, or like last week with the Kata time walking dungeons, or the Pandarian time walking dungeons. Do those, and you get item level 880 gear out of that stuff. That's awesome. And then maybe you can skip a bunch of that stuff and then just go to the new place and get 910s and do mythics and all that kind of stuff. But for a new player, for somebody that's coming into the game right now, it is I would describe it as kind of like a nightmare situation in a lot of ways. If you don't have friends to guide you, or if you're not used to going to like Wowhead or something like that, it's intimidating, man. It's really super intimidating. And so a question for you guys, as long as we're on this topic, and again, hate to derail the conversation this far away from like new stuff, but I'm going to do it.
Always does it.
But I'm going to do it. Yeah, exactly. And now we're not talking about legendaries, at least. So there's that. So my question for Jules and Gizmo, I know that you guys aren't really playing WoW too much. Does the gear grind kind of intimidate you into not playing more than you want to right now? Or is it, I mean, I don't know. Jules, maybe you should answer that.
Oh God. Yes. And that's the thing. I haven't played since before Argus came out. And I would feel, and when the Isle came out, I wasn't playing because I got to that point and I was just like, this grind is killing me. I don't have the time. I've got too much to do. I need a game that I could just jump in, play a little bit, and jump out.
Right.
And now I look at what's happening and all the things, I have the advantage because I do the show notes for Convert to Raid. I'm reading all the articles. I know where to find this data if I really wanted to know. But even that is overwhelming. I can't even imagine if I were a brand new player and all those exclamation points popped up. Because what do you do when you're a brand new player and you see exclamation points pop up?
You click on them.
Put them in your quest log.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You put them all in your quest log.
And you can only fit 25 quests in your log.
Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And I get sensory overload so bad. I as a new player, I did this. I totally did this. I would just grab all the quests and then I'd be like, okay, I'll pick that one. And then you start going down there and then you run into another quest and it was like, So, and I don't think that a new player would feel very comfortable knowing like, what is it that I'm trying to do in endgame right now?
Right.
What am I aiming for?
You can't prioritize anything. It's really
not
tough.
Easily.
And especially because, I mean, if you want flying, you have to go through all the Suramar quests. And if you want gear, you shouldn't do the Suramar quests. If you want gear right now, and if you want a raid, you want to actually go do something else and hope that you have a warlock in your raid.
Yeah, you want to go straight to Argus and farm up there. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's the thing right there about like the flying thing. You have to know that you have to take on all of the Suramar quests, which the game hopefully is taking you through quite a bit of it on the breadcrumb system. But it doesn't take you all the way because it sent you off in other directions as well. Yeah. So you don't even know what you're missing out on unless you go externally to the game, because the game doesn't say, hey, Jules or Juliana, do you want to go fly? Then you have to do this.
Sure. Right.
It doesn't do that.
Yep. And I see the chat is exploding as we speak. But Gizmo, I want to get your opinion here. What do you think about? I mean, we've been inundated with content, which those guys that have been playing since the start are, and I'm seeing this in chat, this is like, oh yeah, I really love having too much content to do. But being a player that's been out of the game for a little bit, how do you feel about it?
Okay. I'm going to go back to Legendaries for a second, but I'm bringing this full circle.
All right.
So first off, they're not Legendaries, they're necessaries.
Yeah.
The things you have to collect to get or level it up now are Awoken Titans, which is a direct Destiny 2 crossover.
Oh.
And this is where it comes back full circle. So as I am getting older here, I am discovering a new balance that I like when it comes to in-game content. Because I don't have the time that I used to.
I play balance sometimes on my druid.
Yeah. Jokes on jokes on jokes.
That's right.
But so a year ago, I would have absolutely probably loved the amount of in-game content they have now and the things to do and love exploring all that stuff. And I could have probably kept up with it. But now, between work and other responsibilities and trying to get game time in, it's why I can't hardcore raid anymore. It's hard enough for me to set that time to be able to do that, let alone keep up with gear. So a game like Destiny, which isn't really an MMO, but it kind of is an MMO, there are like, I play that game a lot, and there's like 5 things, if that, I am doing at in-game and still having a blast with it. So that's not very much. MOBAs, which I really enjoy playing now, I'm doing the same thing over and over and over again, and there's no progression. So for me, it's less about the amount of things to do and more of just doing the thing I want to do.
Yeah.
So it's super hard to do in WoW right now, and I would be so distracted. And I think if they added something in-game to where new players didn't have to go search for what to do, and I mean, they have the adventure journal, and things like that. But if there's something that when you hit 110, it comes up with a list of like, what do you want to do? Like if Jules said like, oh, do you want to get your flying? Click on that. All right, here's the steps to do that.
Right.
Do you want to gear up? Okay, here's the things you can do to do that. Do you want to progress in the story and explore the lore? Okay, here's things to do for that. So it's all too much at one time with not enough direction, especially for somebody who, if they've never played WoW before and they're just getting in.
Right. And I talked to several people in the guild over this last week or whatever, and was kind of asking around and seeing, kind of taking the temperature, as it were. And yeah, I think that there are some people that have been out of the game for a while that are playing, some of the other Blizzard games, which are amazing and definitely not as grindy like Overwatch. You just play the game. You just play the game. Come on. You don't even have to worry about choosing talents. You just choose a guy and go. Blast people in the face. So, yeah, I mean, it's if you're playing a game like that and then switching over to an MMO, it's definitely going to be hard. And I understand that MMOs are a different beast entirely. We've all been playing World of Warcraft for a very long time now. Between the 4 of us, I'm guessing that we probably have minimum, let's just say 30, 35 years experience in WoW, minimum. Between the 4 of us.
I've got 12.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I've got 9.
It might be closer to
since vanilla.
It might be closer to 50.
Yeah, it's 40.
So there. So we have a lot of experience with WoW and all that kind of stuff. So that part is, we're used to the MMO grind and all that kind of stuff. It's just that I think, part of it is maybe just having a new tune. I just kind of like snapped a little bit.
Yeah, it's I can definitely, and as a player that's played throughout this entire expansion for the most part, it's something that I can definitely see there being. It's a problem. I think and I think this is something this was trying to say in the chat room as well. I would agree that it's definitely a problem. I think it's a much better problem to have than nothing to do for 2 years.
Oh, sure. And
for sure.
And
right.
You know what? I am not complaining about the type of content that we're getting other than the grinding factor of.
It's overwhelming and you don't know what to do.
Right.
And you don't know how. If there was a better streamlined system for new players where they could have, like, when those big patches come out and there's new content, they can have a guide like, hey, don't worry about this stuff over here.
Right.
Jump straight to here.
That would be great.
And like a more specific catch-up mechanic or something, I think that would go a long way to solve that problem. But still, that's a lot of work they have to do.
It is.
To put something like that in the game. So you got to kind of, figure it out. I think it would be worth it, though.
I think it would help players attach themselves to the game better, like especially like new or returning players. I would think it would help them like appreciate the game a little bit better if they had, like, it's not necessarily direction, but it's choices, right? If they could make a wise choice, especially as we get later into the expansion, that would be great. And for those guys that have been playing since the beginning of Legion, my God, this content has been phenomenal. It really has been. Over the entire course of the thing, we've seen a lot of story. We've seen a lot of really amazing things happen in game, and it's been a really cool experience, and it's been the best experience that I've had in World of Warcraft since, oh gosh, I don't even know.
Arguably ever for me.
Since ICC, really.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we could go back to the Lich King and say, you know what? We saw a lot of really cool story happen in Lich King, and for the time, it was super amazing. Wrathgate was great, and ICC, just the end of it was spectacular and all that kind of stuff. But now we're seeing story on a new level, and we're seeing all this kind of stuff on a new level, and it's great. I love it. But
Jairusar, that's. Oh, sorry. I was going to. Jairusar in the chat room said, "Doesn't the journal do kind of what I was talking about, leading people?" It does,
kind of,
but not well at all.
Right. It doesn't.
First of all, you have to find it. You have to know where Alt J is or what a Control J.
Well, it pops up. For new players, it'll pop up.
Yeah, it'll pop up on the. But still, it's just.
But it's like, hey, you can do this, or this, but it's not really being specific to what the game is now. And
I don't know how far they'd need to go with it too, and they'd have to update it every patch. I mean, it's nuts. But
right. But we do have to move on, so I think we're going to move on, and we'll just kind of leave it there. And if you guys want to talk to us about it, please do. You can always tweet at us at ConvertToRaid, or you can send in an email. ConvertToRaid@gmail.com. You can also call the old phone line, which is 612-787-RAID, and check out with that. And all the other ways as well. So one other thing before we move on to other games. Last week, or a few days ago, I should say. Yeah, I guess it was last week. We actually the Blizzard team came out with a new WoW audio drama. And for that, I'm going to give them a big applause. More audio drama. This one's actually a big one. It's 3 different pieces of audio drama on YouTube. So they have a picture, and they have sounds, and it's a full production. So it's like they have a cast. They have a full cast. They have a narrator. They have sound effects. They have music, and one picture. so it really is kind of the power of audio, right? Mm-hmm. It's pretty great. And Shark, before we started the show, were trying to set us up with where we were, and if you could just tee it up as far as where we start with this story, and kind of like where we start
We need that old, explain a boss in 60 seconds music that Darius used to try to do.
You want that? I can play this. I can play this.
I'm gonna be so, my ADHD will be like, hey, that's a good song. Wait, what are you talking about?
Right. So where are we at?
So this is a audio drama about Turalyon and Alleria. Last time in the lore that we saw Turalyon and Alleria, they were closing the second dark portal down after Warcraft 3, right? Warcraft 3, Warcraft 2, Warcraft something.
Sure.
But they were closing the second one down that Ner'zhul had opened up using Golden Skull. So what was happening was orcs were coming from Draenor. We were trying to stop them and warcrafting with them, right? And so they and as that was happening, Draenor was going to explode. So they had, not only did we have to stop the orc invasion, but we had to shut the dark portal, because if we didn't, when Draenor exploded, so would Azeroth. So as Draenor was exploding, 5 heroes, Khadgar, Turalyon, Alleria, something Wildhammer, something Trollbane, jumped through the dark portal, or we're already on the other side of the dark portal, shoved everybody through and closed it from that side, and then presumably all died when Draenor exploded. Right?
Chat room says Warcraft 2, by the way.
Warcraft 2, thank you, Warcraft 2, through the dark portal. That is absolutely. So all that happens. We don't see any of them again until Burning Crusade, where we meet Khadgar, Trollbane, and Wildhammer. I don't think we remember, but Turalyon and Alleria aren't there.
Right.
Nobody knows what happened to them.
Right.
And we don't learn anything about them until now. What this audio drama does is it tells us the story from the closing of the dark portal until now-ish. And what has happened. Because the other thing is, if you're paying any attention to the storyline of the game, 1,000 years has passed for Turalyon and Alleria.
Right.
Where only 35 has passed for us. So what?
Right.
And the audio drama kind of helps explain that a little bit too. And it also talks about, I don't want to spoil the game or the drama or anything, but a little bit of Alleria's changes and some other stuff that we actually talked about on another show about the prophecy of the child of light and shadow. That's all I'm going to say.
Okay.
But yeah. So it's a really awesome listen. Everybody needs to go listen to everybody needs to go listen to it.
All right.
I think so, especially if you're into the storyline. If you're not into the storyline, you're probably not going to like it. But and it's actually, I think it's the same. The narrator is the guy that actually narrates the Game of Thrones books when you buy them on tape. I think I recognized his name.
Yeah,
maybe it sounds like.
I think
but
he's
it's
done
like an audio book.
Yeah, I think he's done a lot of ones. I think he's done. Yeah. I think he's done a lot, and I think he did the Lord of the Rings ones as well. I'm not sure. Yeah. Anyway,
but it's basically 3 free hour-long or 45-minute long audiobooks, and they're great. I loved them.
Yeah. Gizmo, what did you think?
I absolutely love these, and I am not a huge lore person, again, just because that's the time between playing and learning story. I've been picking playing, so I'm trying to get better on the lore, and I love things like these because they do such a good job with the audio storytelling that it's really easy to listen to, and I enjoy listening to podcasts, and this is it's my media to take in, and so the voice acting, the sound effects they use, it's all really great. I mean, even the other Zords who are also not playing Warcraft right now have been commenting in our group chat of how amazing this stuff is. So I've only finished the first one, which I think was around 35 minutes, and the other 2 are like 44, 45, something like that. So it's a solid, 2-ish hours of audio content that's definitely worth checking out.
Yeah. I mean, it's a new story. It's something that we haven't heard before. Right, Jules? Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. What I was really surprised with is that they did this at all. I mean, that's a lot of free content, a lot of production, a lot of paying voice actors.
It's a lot of time. Yep.
It's a lot of time and commitment to that. So it makes me wonder if there's going to be more of this coming, and maybe not even just for Warcraft, you know?
Sure. Well, and we've
be
seen,
really cool.
But we've seen we've seen Blizzard expand their universe outside of their games, outside of all their games, especially Overwatch and you know, just trying to build their universe outside of the game, and this is a good way. This is a really good way to tell this particular story, and I think there isn't really a better way of doing it for Alleria and Turalyon. So if you haven't yet, go to is it on the Warcraft website? So
it should be.
Yes,
and it's also
yep.
It was released on their YouTube channel.
On their YouTube channel, right. So youtube.com/World of Warcraft.
World of Warcraft, I think.
Yep. So that is that. It's a really good listen and check it out. I always love those full cast productions. But for now, we will go to Overwatch.
You won't get rid of me that easily.
All right. After an hour, we finally get to the next game. Overwatch. Jules, what's going on with Overwatch?
Junkertown is on competitive.
Yeah.
Gotta play some Junkertown. I'm so excited. That map is so fun. Oh,
is it?
So fun.
Is it a good time?
Oh, it's just you know, I love the way that they construct Overwatch maps to begin with.
Sure.
And the feel of Junkertown, it's fresh, it's fun, and then you've got the, you know, some of the changes like for Mercy and Diva, and you know, I don't know. I'm stoked. And what I love about the fact that it's now on competitive is now I can watch the pros play it, because they're out there streaming right now. Right. And they're doing all their competitive. That's all they do, the pros. So you go out on Twitch and you're watching Seagull and all those guys play, and they're playing on Junkertown. So yeah, that's awesome.
Right. And it looks like, as we were talking about story being played outside the game as well, it looks like that we have a new comic coming up featuring Zarya. So this is kind of fun. A new character for the comic version. Gizmo, have you seen the preview at all? I mean, there was like we saw a cover, I think.
Yeah, it's a cover and like a page,
right,
that they show. So the full version is actually going to be available on the 27th, which
is tomorrow.
Good chance, vast majority of people listening to this, it's out now.
Right.
So yes, but this is another form of their storytelling that I've really loved. Other than audio, which is easy for me to consume pretty much no matter what I'm doing. Mm-hmm. I have over the past couple of years gotten really big into anime and comics. Not so much just like I love the World of Warcraft Chronicles, but it's hard for me to sit down and find the time to do that, where comics are really short. The pictures obviously help tell the story. I love the art styles that they use. And they're just so darn good. Their creative team on all their teams are incredible. And so
they've been a lot of fun. Like I really love the McCree one. There was something about that that's just kind of brought me right into it. And I am not necessarily a comic guy either, but I really do dig these. And maybe it's because of my connection to the game that where I really am investing myself into the comics, or maybe it's just that they're really good, and because they're digital, there's some movement and there's some different things going on. Every once in a while, there's a sound effect, and so, you know, it's kind of a different way of looking at comics as well. So, I think all that kind of plays into it. Shark, you got a take on this at all?
I think it's great. I'm actually, I think I talked a little bit about writing an article about video game and storytelling right now. And this is just one of those things that is just, I mean, Blizzard throws everything they have in every form of media they can. We've got, we've got the audio drama, we've got books and novels, we've got internet comics, we've got internet videos, we've got in-game cinematics, we've got actually telling the story through the game. I mean, they're just dumping these stories on us. And I mean, as far as I'm eating them up, I think they're great. And I can't even, you know, if it's one of those things where I don't reading novels isn't my favorite thing because dyslexia and ADHD make that difficult.
Right.
But I can't get enough Christy Golden novels, like, because I need to know more about Thrall and Jaina and what's, I need to know more about those characters. So it's just, it's a really, really cool thing that they're doing. The way that they're throwing it out in every media ever is getting people. I think it's almost like that Harry Potter thing. It's like, hey, it's getting kids to read. It's getting kids to read. Like, I'm like, wait, that's a video game book? I want to read it. And so I'm not that, other media are less than novels or anything like that. But I mean, it's getting different media into hands of people that wouldn't necessarily use it and might find something else in that media interesting,
And here's a thought. And I'm just gonna throw it out. You don't have to comment on it if you don't want to. But here's a thought.
I want to.
With all of the different stories of all of the different Blizzard games, is this why I have a problem with all of those damn quests when I hit 110 with my alt? I mean, is this part of the because there's only so many stories that you can fit in your brain at once, and I want all of these stories all of the time. Is this why I kind of had a fit about grind quests?
I mean, maybe. And my solution to that problem is Novel exists. Go to his YouTube. He'll walk you through all the lore you need to. Right. But no, it's one of those. I think maybe, yeah. Yeah,
I think that's it. And especially if you're like a WoW completionist or something like that, there is so much story if you are just getting back into it after a break or whatever. Maybe you were playing in 7.1 and now it's 7.3 and you want to get back into it, and there's so much story. So much. That it becomes, if you're a completionist or if you really want to know, if you want to play through the story part, that's great. Don't plan on raiding for a while, but you can do it, It's just, you got to really make your choices and man, I don't know. All right, let's move on. I'm just leaving that out there. And please, once again, feel free to comment if you want. All right, here we go into Hearthstone.
Well met.
And Jules, since John Horstman is not here this week, I was wondering if you might be able to help us out with the Hearthstone news.
Absolutely. So recently, the HCT America's Playoffs took place, actually last weekend. Mm-hmm. There were some real issues that happened to the point where there were disconnects, players were forced to restart, and a controversy that hit Reddit and has been really, really contested. One player was in a dominant position, and he ended up losing after being forced to start over because of the disconnect. And if you guys don't know, these playoffs, they're actually being held in public venues. Like, people know where they are. People know where they're having these things happen. Blizzard actually went on to Battlenet and they did forums. They actually did my brain. Sorry. Blizzard posted on the forums to acknowledge this. They said that there were actually DDoS attacks, multiple DDoS attacks. Like, people who knew where these things were going on were causing these issues, which is really unfortunate.
Man.
And so when you think about when you're doing competitive eSports, right? Most of the time you think about they're in arenas or they're at home. Right. They're playing from home. And Hearthstone seems to be the only one that's going to public places where people can actually find out where you are and cause you disruption to the point that you're losing matches because you have to start over. That's really bad.
That's a problem.
They know this is a problem.
That's not
They know this is a problem. It sucks though. Like, yikes. I actually don't quite understand, and maybe you guys know this, but why a player wouldn't be playing at home to compete in a Hearthstone tournament, just like a HOTS player or an Overwatch player, until they bring them to LAN, like the other games.
Because you can order buffalo wings.
Well,
right.
There's a big. That's referring to another controversy from last year, 2 years ago, where they actually had one of these at a Buffalo Wild Wings.
It was this last year, yeah.
Last year,
there were several at Buffalo Wild Wings.
Right.
Which, I mean, that's part of the problem. I mean, even thinking about, it's a cool aspect that like people can go in and watch, but I am sure Buffalo Wild Wings Wi-Fi is not built to handle a competitive tournament where there are very large stakes on the line.
The password is BBQ wings.
Yeah,
the password.
But as far as
password is BBW Anaheim.
Right.
As far as the just doing these like over the internet from their homes and stuff, I do know, at least when it comes to Heroes players from several of the interviews we've had with them, they love LANs. They compete better in LANs. It's not as big of a deal in a game like Hearthstone because one of the reasons they like LANs is, ping issues and stuff that they have to deal with in HGC. So right. Hearthstone, not that big of a deal. But there is it brings out more of a competitive aspect to it. But yeah, it's too soon. That's why, HGC only has a few LAN events each year. Maybe in 10 years, when esports, if it really takes off, like we all hope it will, there will be arenas set up around, the United States, Europe, Asia, all over the place where they can actually start having these localized tournaments and have the infrastructure set for it. But it was a good thought.
Sure.
Well, but I'm glad they admitted their mistake and realized like that this just doesn't work.
So
Go ahead.
So maybe one of the things that they'll do is after they get all these Overwatch League arenas built and all that kind of stuff, maybe they'll use those for Hearthstone tournaments later, and they'll say, "All right,
they have to."
Yeah, all these. I mean, the Blizzard arena that was built out in California. Like, I imagine there's going to be, obviously the Overwatch stuff there for the LA teams, but. There's going to be Hearthstone tournaments out there. There's going to be Heroes tournaments out there, StarCraft.
Well, we know that there are because they are already planning their pre-BlizzCon schedule because they have to do a bunch of games before they do all the games at BlizzCon. And those are all going to be played in Burbank, as far as I know. I mean, I think most of them are. So they're already using that studio, or they will be. And then, as these pro teams build out their own arenas or whatever, I'm sure that those will be kind of put into the mix as well. So that's good.
I as someone who plans events, I can't imagine a company like Blizzard being comfortable with such an uncontrolled environment like public venues that don't like. Who's managing it?
Jules, just think of this. Last year, we tried to have a fireside tournament at the CTR party. Party. Yeah. And what ended up happening was it just died because we were trying to do everything through Wi-Fi.
From Hilton Wi-Fi.
Yeah, and it's like, it was horrible.
With 7 million nerds playing Hearthstone and getting drunk right below us.
Well, but that's us trying to plan an event for fun at a hotel when we don't really know what we're doing. I know, but this is a company that
I think that's the point.
They use the same process. They use the same process. It
is like the fireside gathering process is how they run these tournaments.
Right. So
it's like the qualifiers.
It's weird.
And I don't know if they're trying to make the fireside thing a thing. Like if that's like, it's a fireside gathering tournament. And I mean, okay, but if they're going, they have to be more in control. They just have to.
Yeah.
They have to show up. They have to, I don't know if they set up private servers or I don't know about all that sort of stuff. But I mean, this is the playoffs for your championship. If you want to make this a legit thing, we're not going to play the playoffs of the NFL on maybe somebody's middle school team field if they're there.
No, it's somebody's front lawn.
And hope they mowed. Hope they mowed. You know what I mean?
Hope there's enough seats. Why can't we get everyone in here?
It's like, and I'm not talking shit about. I just bleeped. I'm not saying anything bad about Buffalo Wild Wings or any of those places. I'm sure they're wonderful establishments.
And they have tasty food. So
tasty food, exactly. And I think that's a great idea. But you've got to follow it through. You have to show up and be like, hey, we're doing this. We're setting this up. We're getting it together and work with, if you're going to use venues like that, you have to take the control into your hands. Make sure that you have a secure server that you're working off of, however you're doing it. And if you're doing that in a whole bunch of different places, I see why they wouldn't want to do that because it's way too costly. Then just don't.
Yeah,
They just don't. It's not working otherwise.
The good thing is that they've at least acknowledged the problem, and they've said, you know what, hey, you're right. we have to do better, and we will try to do better. And so hopefully they've got a bunch of brainiacs over there, back over at Blizz HQ.
The biggest problem is, at least with Heroes of the Storm, the same thing happened at BlizzCon like 2 years in a row and keeps happening. Hopefully it won't now. I know it was something
It's happened year after year, and it's not just Heroes of the Storm, because it happened with the raid deal as well, where they had to delay the raid, whatchamacallit, the raid race, I guess,
the raid
that they
race.
had. So I know that there were problems with that. There have always been tech problems at BlizzCon. That's a whole
and it's going to. It's a big thing, but it's one of those things. You just have to have it. Like, if you want it to be a legitimate esport, which we all do, and that's what a lot of the Reddit tweets that were going out.
I mean, they're like, Hearthstone is legit. It's one of the top.
One of their biggest.
Yeah, it's one of the top watched esports. That and Overwatch are their moneymakers, really. I mean, when you take a look at esports.
I'm not trying to take a back from. I know Hearthstone is really, really popular. I'm just saying, like, it's not going to be if you have a bunch of if your championships are strewn with constant controversy because this guy should have made it in and he had to restart because Buffalo Wild Wings internet went up
because of anything. You can't have him restart because of anything. You have to think of every problem and overcome it.
And I think what we're overall saying is they know this and they've acknowledged that. So hopefully, I mean, I would assume we'll see improvement in the future, at least attempts at it. But I mean, it's a brave new world. It's impossible to be 100%, but they got to do better.
Yep. All right, we got to move on. Speaking of doing better.
Right.
And we got to move on to Heroes of the Storm.
Let's jam.
Yeah. So, Gizmo, you have a show that's about Heroes of the Storm. And what is the latest news in Heroes of the Storm?
Yes. So, Ana has officially entered the live servers here along with Volskya Foundry, the new map. And yeah, they're both. The map is incredible. Ana's super fun to play. Still, again, going to kind of wait to see what she brings, not thinking she's going to be a solo support, which is unfortunate because we're kind of still stuck in the duo support meta, which is not super fun. But hey, what are you going to do? Another thing I want to talk about, or actually there have been some hero changes, a couple big ones, but the main thing here is to heroes with global cooldowns. They've now added a 10-second cooldown when that gets interrupted or you self-cancel it, and it's making a chat announcement, which is just good for communication on your team when you're playing solo. And the other thing I mentioned last week was the AI changes that they made. Me, TBK, Multi got together with some listeners last week, and we played some AI matches. Yeah. Holy cow. It is a big, big improvement. The AI together communicates really well. Like, I mean, we were losing. Nice. We lost the first objective, and then we came back. We had one AI on our team. Okay. That didn't seem to be as good as theirs, but you know what? It's whatever. So they're really good now. There might actually be some benefit of testing things out again in AI if you kind of went away from that. It's not on every hero yet, but if you check out the patch notes, there is a list of about 25 per se. So heroes. So they're going to be continuing to work down to improve the AI on the rest. Cool. But good changes. Cool. And
I've got a question for you. So when is Junkrat coming?
They have not announced yet. Okay. I would guess. So Ana entered this week. Yeah. We will probably see him enter PTR in 2 weeks, 3 weeks from now. It just kind of depends on if they're going to do their 3 week thing or if they're going to move to the 4 week.
Keep me informed, because as soon as Junkrat hits the damn live servers, I'm all over it, and we'll end up playing way too much, and I'm sure that we'll cancel the show because I'll be like, nope, too much Junkrat. I just need more Junkrat. I need all of the Junkrat in the world. All right. Anything else as far as Heroes of the Storm is concerned?
Nope.
Okay. And Jules, you said Ana was very fun.
Oh, she's great.
Okay.
She's awesome. I love her. I want to learn how to play her better.
Alrighty. Well, let's get into some esports, and I'm going to play this one.
Defenseless weakling!
Yeah, that was that's from WoW. But anyway,
Defenseless weakling!
Yeah, you got to remember that one. Come on, the twins from Warlords. Anyway,
BlackRock? No.
Hans and Franz.
Yeah, Hans and Franz.
Oh yeah.
Let's talk esports, and Jules, just kind of run through for us, if you could, kind of the broad strokes of what's happening with Overwatch League right now.
Overwatch League is going to be starting on January 10th. It kind of just got nailed down. Like, we figured out what the last 3 teams were, and so now everything's locked in. There's 12 teams total starting Overwatch League, and you will get to see some preseason exhibition matches that are going to start as soon as December 6th. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
Hello, Overwatch League. Let's go.
Mm-hmm.
So expect that it's going to be expect that you're going to be seeing a lot of them on Twitch. A lot of the Overwatch League promotion, I think, is going to be really tied to Twitch. And so 12 teams. We will probably I don't know, we might actually get some more news about this at BlizzCon. I just have a feeling.
Really? No. We won't get news about Overwatch League at BlizzCon? No. They don't do anything big there.
You don't think?
No, they don't do anything big there. Not anymore.
But, maybe they'll actually do some like exhibition matches at BlizzCon. Would that be? They're already doing World Cup, so
they are. Hey, and also, if you are a caster and you would like to cast Overwatch League, I talked to John Horseman about this, and I'm like, "Hey, John, did you see this little article?" And he goes, "Yeah, I'm already on it." But Blizzard is looking for casters for Overwatch League, and I think that this is really great. They're doing a cattle call for casters for Overwatch League. So if you are really into Overwatch and you think that you could be a great caster for these guys, you should have seen this already, because it's on playoverwatch.com. It's just right there. Just go check out exactly what you need to do to be able to be a part of the team, and hopefully we'll see you soon. That's my guess. That's my hype for that one. All right, Gizmo, HGC, what's up?
Yes, so this weekend we have the HGC playoffs to find the last teams that will be moving to BlizzCon as well. For North America, Space Station Gaming, Superstars, Tempo Storm, and Gale Force Esports. Mm-hmm. And for EU, I can't remember. Team Liquid, Team Wish, Tricked, and Team Expert.
For EU, I need to go over to my other tab. And where is it? Oh.
And then the following week is going to be the Crucible, which for EU right now, all we have is Team Good Guys. The other team is still yet to be determined. And for North America, and it just switched back on me again. Why are you doing that to me? It's going to be Even in Death and Lag Force.
Right. Cool.
So we'll see if those guys can keep their spots, or if we're going to see some new teams. I'm predicting that we'll probably see Heroes Hearth make it into the North American HGC for the next phase.
Cool. Very, very cool. All right. Anything else? Did we miss anything? We were talking forever this time around.
I know.
Darn Legendaries every time.
I know. We got a little derailed as usual.
Legendaries are ruining the game. They're ruining our show.
Because Shark was here, we got totally derailed.
No. Yes.
Thank you, Shark. Actually,
we're still an hour and 15.
I brought it up. We're okay.
Good.
We're okay.
We got everything we needed in the show.
Yes, Giz.
We got time for questions. Any questions? Anybody? Questions?
No, we don't have time for questions. All right. Gizmo, go ahead.
Never mind. It'll turn into another discussion. I'll avoid it.
All right. Well, in that case, we're going to play the silly music as we play ourselves off. And the guys are going to talk about what they've got coming up this week and where you can find them. We'll start. Jules, you go first.
You can find me on Tauren Think Tank on Thursday night. I can't remember what day it is anymore.
It's Tuesday right now. You're overtired. It's fine.
It is Tuesday. Twitch.tv/Tauren Think Tank on Thursdays at 8 p.m. Central.
And Shark, what about you?
You can find me on Twitter at Sharku_CTR.
As he does his NPR voice. Go ahead.
Find me on Twitch, twitch.tv/Sharku_CTR. You can also listen to me on Merely a Setback, the podcast, We have a Twitter, Setback Podcast, and you can get us on iTunes and give us 5 stars. We record that every 2 weeks. Every 2 weeks.
All
so
right.
Next week's show.
Cool. Gizmo, go.
Yes, you can find me on Twitter, Twitch, Facebook, all those things, Gizmozord, as well as my Heroes of the Storm podcast, Lords of the Storm, on Twitter and Twitch.
And that's
Twitch
tomorrow.
Whatever things. Yes, Lords of the Storm.
Tomorrow.
Wednesday nights, 9 p.m. Central. Tomorrow night, we are having another interview, pre-recorded. We did it last night with Justin, the Warrior player from Roll20 eSports.
Oh, very cool.
So it should be some good stuff.
Very, very cool. And I just want to remind you, if you want to check out the stuff at our pre-Blizzard, pre-sale Etsy store, go to converttoraid.etsy.com. That's converttoraid.etsy.com. And check out the patches. We've got the Velcro patches for your backpack, for your BlizzCon backpack. We've got a special deal if you buy 2. And we've also got the coloring book. If you guys are up for that, check it out up there. converttoraid.etsy.com. And you can find me at Pat Crane with a K. Okay. All right. I'm going to bail out of that, and we're going to play that one. There we go. We're almost there, guys. It's the home stretch. Don't worry about it. And please, feel free. Join in on all the conversations we're having. All the conversations about legendaries, about player time, about priorities, about all that stuff. Blah, 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 blah. Join us, please. Email us, converttoraid@gmail.com. You can call and leave comments and questions on our raid line, 612-787-RAID. That's 612-787-7243. And be sure to join the Bazoo Baguabo Nation by heading over to converttoraid.com. That's where we have show downloads. We have our Discord info. We have our videos. We have our audios. We have guild stuff. We've got all of the show stuff over at converttoraid.com, so please check it out over there. We're also on Apple Podcasts. We're on the tubes of you, and so much more around the internet. Convert to Raid is produced and distributed by Signals Media. Make sure to check out all of our friends on the Signals Media All-Star Network at signalsmedia.com. Guys, thank you for coming. Jules, I know it's late for you.
I'm tired.
She's almost asleep. Just be very, very quiet for now. Chat room, thank you guys, as always, for coming out. And thank you, no matter where you're picking us up. We really do appreciate it. And, yeah, for all the guys on Convert to Raid, we will see you next time. Until then, bye-bye, everybody. Bye-bye.